This is the quick start guide for the Excel Skills Basic Monthly Salary Template. This template is a simpler version of our very comprehensive monthly payroll template, where the monthly payroll template requires users to enter monthly earnings for all 12 months in the tax year. This template automates the inclusion of earnings based on fixed monthly basic salaries, one annual bonus, and one annual salary increase. Let's have a look at the setup sheet. Okay, there's some business details at the top of the sheet, and then you select your tax period end. You can select any month there, and then you enter your tax year based on the period end and the tax year. The current and prior period end dates and the template start date are determined. You also specify a salary payment day, an annual bonus amount a month, and your salary increase month. So the template accommodates one annual bonus month, and that's what you set here, and it accommodates one salary increase. If you have more than that, or if you have variable earnings on a monthly basis, you need to have a look at our monthly payroll template, which accommodates that. The next section covers the income tax tables. So there's 2 income tax tables provided for. You can link employees to any of these 2 tables. There's 7 brackets. You can delete brackets, or you can insert a row and then copy the light blue formulas in the light blue cells, and enter your data in the yellow cells. So the yellow cells are input cells. Then there are income tax rebates provided for, so you can just enter your rebates there, and then that's deducted after tax has been calculated. We provide for medical tax credits, and the rates per dependent are specified here. If it's not applicable, just replace that with 0 values. And then the next section is the earnings list. So code needs to be specified for each earning. You enter the description, a short name, which will be used on the other sheets, and a taxable percentage. If it's not taxable, you enter 0%. Then you have a basis where you can enter monthly or annual. The salary deductions list can be specified here. So you can enter a code in column A, a description, enter the rate, and then specify a basis. It can be either gross, which will mean that the rate is a percentage of gross remuneration or gross earnings. If you specify fixed, you just enter a value, and then you can also enter one of the earnings codes if you want to base the deduction calculation on a particular earning code. Earning inclusions can be for the full value or just the taxable value. You can exclude earnings code. So if you specify gross and you exclude earning code D, then the calculation is based on all other earning codes except for B. You can also put a limit for your earnings calculation for the deduction, and then you can specify a taxable percentage of the deduction, whether it would be deductible for tax purposes. And there's also an annual tax limit if your taxable deduction is limited to a particular amount. The next section is a company contribution list. It's the same principle. You enter a code in column A, description, specify a basis with a rate. You can specify gross or a value, or you can enter a code, one of the deduction codes, and the calculation will be based on the deduction code. When you do that, you enter the percentage of the deduction. In this case, one would mean 100% and would result in the company contribution being the same as the salary deduction. Then you have a earning inclusion, whether it's full values of taxable values, You can enter a code for exclusion, one of the earnings codes, if you want to exclude it from the company contribution calculation, and you can enter a maximum amount. The next section is departments. So you can create a department code, enter a description, and assign a cost center. The column and row matrix relates to if you need to add earnings or deduction codes to the table. If you make no changes to the default number of earnings and deduction codes, then you can ignore the column and row matrix. Let's go to the EMP sheet. You need to create a unique employee code for each employee. Assign a department into the date employed and into the first payment date. The first payment date is very important. If you enter a date and you include an employee before that date in a pay cycle, then the employee will be ignored. So employees can only be eligible for payment after the first payment date. The date employed and the first payment date will always remain the same. You can enter a date terminated if an employee has left, and then there's a few other employee-related fields that need to be completed. Those are mostly for the payslip. The IKEY income tax rebate code can be assigned here for each employee, and you can link an employee to a tax table A or B here. The medical aid members or the payments can be entered here. And then you specify the basic monthly salary, annual bonus amount, and the one increase amount. So the month that you select on the setup sheet, the annual bonus will be included in that month, and the increase month will be used to increase your salary increase from that particular month. So the annual bonus is not only in 1 month, but the month that you select for the increase, the one increase amount will be applied from that month up to the end of the tax year. So earnings calculations are automated, and it's these 3 columns that need to be used to specify earnings. The deductions section that we have here, basically, the rates that you specify on the setup sheet are global rates for all employees. If you then want to override the global rates with an employee specific rate for a particular employee, you can enter that here. The last column is just the indication of whether the employee has been included for the full tax year or only reduced number of months. Okay, let's go to the payroll sheet. The entire payroll sheet is automated. So all the calculations on this sheet are automated. There's a sheet status at the top, which will usually indicate okay, but if there's an error, refer to the instructions on what to do next. So just going through this quickly, it's a payslip reference number in column A, a payment run date, employee number. So all your employees are repeated for all 12 periods below each other. You can see there's March, April, May, June, July, and so forth. Okay, then you have your department, the status, whether the employee was active, and then an earnings section, which leads you to gross pay, title, income tax, pay as you earn title, salary deductions, your net pay, which is your take-home pay, and then your company contributions, title cost to company, deductions, and company contribution title. Then there are a few calculations, employee-specific calculations, which are mostly used in the tax calculations later on. You can see the income tax rebate code and the rebate value, and then also the table that needs to be used for tax. And then there's tax calculations for the annual and monthly equivalents, and some just the annual and monthly split in the last few columns. So that's basically it. The whole payroll sheet is calculated automatically. So in the override sheet, you can override any earnings or deduction calculations by including a year. So you enter override date, select the employee number, select the earnings code that needs to be overridden. So this is on a per employee level. You can select the income tax code if you want to override the tax, medical code if you want to override the medical side, deduction code, company contribution code if applicable, and then the value. So the default in this template is to only override 1 month. If you enter nothing, then it's a 1 month override. If you want to override up to the end of the tax period, you need to specify that date. So this override value that you enter here will override whatever has been calculated on the payroll sheet. Then we go to the payslip sheet. It's fully automated. All you need to do is select a payslip number, and the payslip numbers can be found in column A on the payroll sheet. Okay, then we go to the summary sheet. The summary sheet gives you monthly totals of all the earnings, deductions, company contributions, and all cost to company titles and so forth. You can review this report for a specific department by filtering the department, and you can select a particular employee code if you want to see a monthly analysis of only one employee's amounts. Then the month imp sheet, you can view amounts for specific or for all employees here, and you can select which amount you want to view. In this case, it's net pay, but you can also select gross pay, income tax, tax deductions, company contributions, deductions, and company contributions titles or cost to company titles. And then the last sheet is the month department sheet, so you can select or view each individual department, the payroll titles, and you can select all those in categories that were available on the employee selection. And that's basically it. If you need more guidance on the template, please view our detailed instruction sheet with all aspects of the template are covered. And you can also go to the support section of our YouTube channel where we post videos based on user feedback.